Well, hello, friends. Mark Martella here for Money Matters, your place for financial sanity and serenity. Well, welcome to my first Thursday night show. And the reason I changed to Thursday nights is because it seemed like Saturday mornings, a lot of people had a lot of things going on. So I was hoping that we might get some more live interchange with regard to um, questions and stuff. I see a couple people who joined us. Thanks, Steve. Hi, Tom. And also to be able to rant a little bit more about things that are bothering me with what I see going out there on a daily basis with my clients and creditors. What I'd like to do, and the other problem I had is too, I couldn't see the darn screens standing 3 feet away from the camera. So I have a new camera. I'm looking at my laptop for questions, and I was able to see real bright and right away that Steve and Tom joined us. So what I'd like to share with you tonight is something that happened to me this week. I received a phone call from the servicer of my mortgage company, and I got a recording, and it talked about that, hey, my property values went up and that I would qualify for a refinance and pull some money out. So I gave him a call, not that I wanted to pull money out, but I was curious as to how much my value went up. And then possibly getting out of paying a PMI. If you don't know what PMI is, or if you're paying it and don't understand it, what PMI is mortgage insurance. And if you have less than 20% equity in your home and you take out that loan, you have to pay mortgage insurance until there's at least 20% equity. So that's what I was curious about, where I was with regard to the equity in my house. So I called back, and of course I get a different person than the person that left the message, and I start asking about what the new value of my house was. And what was interesting was I have more than 20% equity in my house, but this person goes on to talk to me about, hey, you want to change from an FHA loan to a conventional loan, and by doing that, you can get out of paying your mortgage insurance, and you would save $41,000 over the life of the loan. So my question to him was, well, I thought that my PMI would disappear once I had 20% equity in the house. And what he said to me was, well, who told you that? My response was, well, I'm a real estate attorney. And immediately his story changed. And he said, well, looking at your interest rate is lower than what we can provide you at this time. And yes, you can probably get out of your mortgage insurance, so it probably doesn't make sense for you to refi. This is after he was telling me about how I'm going to pay $41,000 over the life of the loan. So I just wonder how many people get taken in by this because they just don't know the rules, and these people really just care about making a sale, closing, and getting their commission. So these are the things you have to worry about. The other thing that they talk about is, they'll sell you on, hey, take money out to pay off those high interest cards. Well, it sounds like a great idea. Would you rather pay 18% on a $15,000 balance or pay 4%? Sounds like a great deal. You're going to have some great savings. But here's the reality of it. So let's take the example. Average person has about $15,000. If you're going to pay it off in 3 years, and again, if you look on your credit card statements, you'll see that they show you how to pay it off in 3 years. So if we take $15,000 over 3 years at 18%, what is that total over that time in interest that you're going to pay? It's $4,522. Let's say you can't make the 3-year payment, so your goal is to do it in 5 years. Again, so if we take the $15,000 over 5 years at 18%, your total interest in that case is $7,854. Now, here's what they're trying to sell you. Don't pay that 18% interest. Lower it. We can give you 4% interest. So if you pull that money out of your mortgage, you're going to pay 4% interest on this $15,000. And your payment's going to go way down. Obviously, trying to pay something out over 5 years versus 30 years, your payment goes way down. But if you do it over 30 years, you're paying $10,780. $10,780 versus if you can pay it off in 3 years, $4,522. But they're not going to sell you on that. They're going to sell you on the fact that you're going to save all this interest. So again, these are the misconceptions that are out there about your credit. These are the sales tactics that people use. Hey, look, they're out to make a buck. I don't blame them for that, but it's like going up against a major league pitcher and you've never faced them. These are professional salespeople. They have all the answers. It wasn't until in this particular case I mentioned that that I was an attorney that the guy changed his story. So these are the type of things I want to talk about on this show. If you have questions, are you being harassed? Are you looking at a deal like this that somebody may be offering you? And this is just one particular scenario. I also had the unfortunate circumstance of having to negotiate a car sales contract this week. We'll save that for another show and give you some tips, but it is amazing how people can get taken advantage of when it comes to purchasing a car and all the tricks that they use. And they basically never tell you unless you demand it. And I had demanded, how much you're paying for the car. They just want to talk about payment, and they can manipulate the payment and what you're actually paying. So look, if you're getting phone calls, you're getting sales offers in the mail, you really need to sit down. You need to do the math like I just showed you. What is the interest over that period of time? Keep in mind, if you're doing some type of refinance and they're telling you, hey, no, you don't have to come out with any cash, well, you're also probably paying some points. So I didn't even calculate that. But again, a point is basically 1% of the mortgage. So if you're taking out a $100,000 loan and they're going to charge you 2 points, that's another $2,000 added on to your expenses, as well as other closing costs like title insurance and just recording fees. Those are costs that need to disappear. So Lisa asks, when does PMI disappear? Did the salesman ever answer you? Yes, he did. He admitted that. Generally, depending upon how much you finance, if you did like a 97% financing of it, it should disappear, assuming your property value stayed the same at 11 years, he told me. But again, if your property is going up, your equity is building faster, it can happen sooner. In my particular case, I had 15% equity when I closed, so I only needed to get to that 5%. And in the market that we're in, with property values rising, as well as paying down the mortgage, I was pretty confident that I was there, and I am there, and we'll get rid of that. And that's like $120 savings a month. That's a couple of dinners out, or putting it better, instead of dinner, putting it towards your 401k to build that nest egg. If you haven't checked out my website, just go to markmartella.com. That's the official Money Matters website. And what you can find there is a whole bunch of my past video episodes, as well as my podcasts. There's 23 podcasts. But I also have there my 5-step financial sanity solution. And those are my 5 steps that will walk you through how to get out of debt and avoid bankruptcy, or at least make that analysis to see whether or not you can even get out of debt in 5 years. And if you can't, well, then maybe we need to take that next step and do a analysis of what your options are under bankruptcy. So again, if you're getting calls or you're getting mailings about refinancing, pulling money out, unless you're at a high interest rate where it makes sense, and there's a whole bunch of other factors, you need to sit down. You need to do the math. If you have questions about it, you can certainly ask questions here. If you want to email me your question, my email is simply mark@martellalaw.com. or mark@markmartello.com. Either one of those, get your email. I'll be happy to answer your questions. So this is it for our first Thursday night show. Thank you to everyone for joining me, and I wish you a very prosperous week. Have a good night.